everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. If you're new, a huge welcome to you. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. This channel is mostly about jewelry making, but I also do bead subscription unboxings and reviews. And sometimes I'll throw in some other content as well to keep it interesting and keep it fresh. So if that's something you're interested in, please think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't done so already. But anyway, guys, today we're going to be making some bracelets, and I haven't made bracelets in a long time. I can't even think of the last time I made one. It's been a while. I want to say at least a few months. Now, the one thing I haven't done in a while are memory wire bracelet tutorials, and I have a good reason. You're going to think it's kind of silly, but the reason I haven't made them is because I can't keep up with the sales. The times that I've published anything to do with the coil buddy kit, I always get tons of sales, and then I have a hard time filling the orders. I know that's a poor excuse, but that's the whole truth. But anyway, we're not going to be doing a memory wire bracelet today. We're going to be making 3 gorgeous bracelets using the beads from the Curated Bead box for the month of February. And that's February 2023 in case you're watching this video sometime in the future. And if you're not familiar with that box, I'll leave some information down below. I'll leave a link to the website so you can go check it out. It's a really great box if you're looking to build up your stash because you get tons of beads. And usually the strands are super long. Now, the one thing we don't get a lot of are things like bead caps. Once in a while we do, but not often. So for today's tutorial, I did have to go into my stash and pull out some items that are not included in the box. In any case, whether you have the box or not, I'm going to leave a list of all the materials down below in the description section of this video. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see it. I'm also going to leave some timestamps in case you want to skip forward to any portion of the video. And I'm happy to say that today's tutorial is going to be super easy, guys. So if you like easy projects, this is the video for you. I am going to be doing some crimping, but I'm going to be squashing the crimp bead. I'm not going to be doing the traditional fold over method. I really can't stand that method, and I don't like crimp bead covers, to be quite honest. So we're going to be using something called a clamshell end cap. And a few of you have left some messages with concerns about the durability of squashing the crimp bead, and I can tell you guys that it's very durable and very strong. If you do it the right way and you don't crack the crimp bead, it's a very dependable method. It really is. If you think about it, when you do the traditional fold over method, you usually have 2 pieces of beading wire sitting within 2 channels, which means that each one has their own separate channel. So you're basically doing the same thing when you squash the crimp bead with 1 beading wire running through it. But the best thing to do when you squash a crimp bead is to give it a test, give it a tug, and make sure that it's nice and sturdy and it's not going to go anywhere. But anyway, guys, if you have time, please leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think of the bracelets. And if you have any other concerns about the technique and about the methods that we're going to be using today, please let me know down below. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the tutorial. And here we have Curated Bead box for the month of February. As you can see, the name of the box is Love Is. Let's go ahead and select the beads. I'm going to be using beads from this strand right here. I absolutely love these. These are called abstract glass beads, and these beads are 8mm in size, and the color is Pink Perfect. And aren't they gorgeous, guys? I love these. When I first saw these, I knew I had to use them. And I like these as well. These are really nice. These are 10mm size beads, and as you can see, they're Crackle beads. The color is Summer Glory, and what I like about these is that they're two-tone. They have a little bit of peach and a little bit of pink as well. And I do want to use these as well. These are also Crackle beads, and these Crackle beads are 8mm in size, and the color is neon pink, and you can see why. They're pretty bright. And I also want to use these. These are marble style glass beads, and the color is soft pink. And these are 6mm in size. I do want to use these charms. I think these are adorable. We're also going to be using a few items from the Finding Starter Kit. And that's it from this box. Let me show you what we're going to be using from the Finding Starter Kit. We're going to be using these crimp beads. We're also going to use the beading wire. And we're going to use these jump rings. And we're also going to use these lobster claw clasps. Now, one of the bracelets is going to have bronze colored metals. So I pulled this one out from my stash. As you can see, I have a lobster claw clasp, 2 6mm jump rings, and a charm. And the charm is in the shape of a heart, and it says thank you. I thought it was really cute. Let me put these away for the time being. We're going to be using some extender chain, and I got this box on Amazon a long time ago. As you can see, it comes in 6 different colors, and these extender chains are about 2 inches long, and I use them for other things, not just extender chains. Sometimes I use them to make earrings or components. But anyway, we're going to be using 2 colors, the gold and the bronze. I'm going to be using some bead caps, And these are called filigree flower bead caps. Sometimes they're listed as filigree basket bead caps. I think I got these on Etsy, but I know they sell them on Amazon as well. And they're about 7 millimeters tall, but they're 5 millimeters across at the top and 7 millimeters across at the bottom. And as you can see, I have two colors. I have gold and bronze. I'm also going to be using some bead caps from this bag. I got this one on Amazon. As you can see, there are tons of bead caps here, and they're all different sizes, and they're all in an antique gold color. And I love these bags because I can always find a bead cap to fit any size bead. So these are really handy to have. And like I said, you can find them on Amazon. If you search for Tibetan bead caps, you should be able to find them. I'm also going to be using some rhinestone spacer beads. These measure 5 millimeters across, and the crystals are clear, as you can see. I love these because they add a little sparkle to any piece of jewelry. You can use these on necklaces or bracelets. And I think I got these on Amazon as well, but you can find them pretty much anywhere on the internet. You can certainly find them on Etsy or other online bead stores. And the last thing I want to show you is this huge bag. This is a bag of seed beads, and they're not very good quality seed beads because they're all very irregular. And I got these on Amazon as well a long time ago. The funny thing about these seed beads is that they look like they're 6 O's, but here it says they're 4 millimeters, and they are 4 millimeters because I measured them. So I'm not sure why they're listed as seed beads, but I did find them on Amazon, and as you can see, they're in a bronze color, but it's a very bright bronze, so you could definitely team these up with antique gold. And here's one more thing I want to show you. These are called magic rods. I carry these in my Etsy store, and I use these to arrange bead patterns. They come in really handy for making bracelets because you can arrange your beads on each one of these rods and get exact measurements for each bracelet. So for example, today we're going to be making 3 bracelets, and say for instance you wanted each one to measure 7 inches. You could lay out your beads on each one of these rods and arrange your patterns so that each one measures exactly 7 inches. It's a little hard for me to explain without actually showing you, but you'll see later on how I use these. But anyway guys, if you're interested in these rods, I do carry them in my Etsy store, and I'll leave a link down below. And by the way, you do not have to use these rods. You can use your beading mat or a beading board or even a scrap piece of beading wire. So let's go ahead and get started with the first bracelet. Here are the items we're going to need for the first bracelet. I do want to show you one more item we're going to be using. These are called clamshell end caps, and we're going to use these for the crimp beads. We're going to be squashing the crimp beads and hiding them inside these clamshells. These are super easy to use and I absolutely love them. I don't like using regular crimp bead covers because they're really difficult to close and you always see the seam. These have a little bit of a seam, but it's not too bad. But what I like about these is that they have a loop, so all you have to do is attach a jump ring and then whatever clasp you're going to be using. But anyways, you can see they come in 6 different colors, and I did get these on Amazon, but you can find them pretty much anywhere. So let's go ahead and get started. I have my rod. I'm going to remove the stopper. And I think I'm going to start with a seed bead. And then one of these bead caps. And one of these abstract glass beads. And another bead cap. Like that. And then another seed bead. And now I'm going to repeat the exact same pattern 3 more times. So this is what we have so far. Obviously I've already played around with this design, so I kind of know what I'm doing. I think this looks really pretty. And now I'm going to add some focal beads, and it's going to be these larger beads. Each one's going to have a bead cap. And I'm going to have a seed bead in between each one. That looks really adorable. I love it. So let me repeat that 2 more times. So this is what we have so far. I think it looks really, really cute. So now I'm going to finish by adding 4 more of these smaller 8mm size beads. So here's what I have so far. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. So now what I need to do is measure it to make sure it's the right length. Let me put my stopper on so I don't lose the beads. And by the way guys, these rods are really sharp, and sometimes it's difficult to put the stopper on. But I love these stoppers because what I do is I bring them in and that brings the beads up against each other. So now I can get an accurate measurement. Let's take a look. It measures almost 6 inches, and that's fine because the jump rings and the clasp are going to add another inch, plus I'm going to be attaching an extended chain. So I'm going to put this rod off to the side and arrange the beads for the other 2 bracelets. Let me go ahead and get the beads. Here are the beads and bead caps we're going to be using for this next bracelet. I'm also going to be using some of these 6/0 beads. As you can see, I have more of the abstract glass beads, and I also have the neon colored crackle beads. Both of these beads are 8mm in size. I have another rod. Let me remove the stopper. So for this one, I think I'm going to start with a seed bead, and then one of these bead caps. And I think what I want to do is use these bronze colored bead caps on the neon colored beads because that'll tone down the color a little bit. Now the only problem with these is that they're hollow, as you can see. So I'm going to place a seed bead inside there to give it a little bit more support. Just like that. If you don't do that, what might happen is that the bead cap might collapse around the bead because this is very soft metal. So now let me go ahead and thread one of these beads on. And now another seed bead and another bead cap. I've actually formed these bead caps around beads before. You can actually spread those little petals apart because this is very soft metal, and that's the reason why I'm placing the seed beads inside. So now let me go ahead and put another seed bead at this end. Now I could continue using the bronze colored bead caps, but I'm going to switch to gold now, and I'm going to use the gold ones on these beads here. Once again, I want to place a seed bead inside, and then the bead, and then another seed bead, and another bead cap, and I'm going to finish with a seed bead. So this is what we have so far. I think it's really fun to mix metals. I've done that many times and I love it. So now I'm going to continue the same exact pattern, alternating between bronze and gold. So here's what I have so far. Now it's not symmetrical because I didn't start and end with the same colored bead cap, but I'm not too concerned about it. I think it's fine. I don't think anybody's going to come up real close and examine your bracelet. But anyway, I'm going to go with this. So let me put my stopper on. Bring the beads in close. Let me go ahead and measure it now. It measures about 6 inches, so I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to move on to the third bracelet. Let me put this over here for the time being. I'm not going to need these beads. And I'm not going to need these bead caps. Here are the items for the third bracelet, and I have another rod here. So let me show you what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to start by loading 3 of these 6mm beads. And then a spacer bead, and another 3 of these 6mm beads, and another spacer bead. I think that looks really cute. Let me do another set. And now what I'm going to do is switch to the larger beads. And I'm simply going to load the 3 just like this. Very simple. And now another spacer bead. And then 3 of these 6mm beads. And I'm going to continue the pattern until I get to the end. So this is what we have so far. Now when I was first designing these bracelets, I did think about putting rose quartz in the middle instead of these, but then I changed my mind because I wanted the 3 bracelets to coordinate. Obviously that's an option for you if you want to do that. I think the rose quartz would look nice there as well. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with this. Let me put my stopper on. Bring the stoppers in so the beads are up against each other. And now I'm going to measure it. It measures a little bit less than 6 inches. So I think what I'll do is add a couple of these seed beads, one at each end. These are size 8/0 seed beads. So by the time I add the seed beads, it should measure 6 inches. Let me put my stopper on. It's always a good idea to add the stoppers, guys, because I can't tell you the amount of times I've lost my beads because I didn't do that. Let me add this one now. And these stoppers do wear out after a while, but I always include a generous amount of stoppers in a little baggie with every order of magic rods. So here are my 3 bracelets, and each one measures 6 inches, give or take a millimeter, and I think they look very pretty. So now all we need to do is load them on beading wire, and I'll show you how to do one of them, but then I'll do the other 2 off camera so this video isn't too long. Here's my beading wire, and I do want to show you how to get this tape off because it is a little tricky. Usually what I do is use these very tiny scissors, and I get underneath the tape like this and cut it, and that makes it easier to remove the tape. Let me do this side now. It is a little bit tricky to get this tape off, and it's also a little bit gummy. I'm going to cut myself 3 pieces. Each one's going to be about 10 inches long, which will give me a little bit extra at each end. Let me put these off to the side. We're going to work on this one. Here's my beading wire. I have a couple of crimp beads here. And here are my clamshell end caps. We're going to start by loading one of these clamshell end covers. And I'm going to go in from the bottom just like this. Let me just give you a close-up. And now I'm going to load a crimp bead. And now I'm going to squash that crimp bead using some chain nose pliers. So I'm going to grab the crimp bead and then squash it. Make sure you squash it really well. And that's what you should have. Now, a few people have asked me if this is secure, and I can tell you guys that it is. If you think about it, when you do the fold over method, you basically have 2 pieces of wire running through each side of the crimp bead. So it's basically the same thing, except we're not folding it over. I hope that makes sense. But the best thing to do is to test it. And this crimp bead is not going anywhere. I'm pulling really hard. So anyway, don't be concerned that it's not secure because it really is. So now I'm going to cut off the excess beading wire. And I'm going to go ahead and close my clamshell. And that's all there is to it. As you can see, it's a very nice finished look. So now we're going to go ahead and load the beads. Now to offload from the rod, you need to hold on to this end and then remove the stopper from this end. And now we're simply going to offload from the rod directly onto the beading wire. Now the beads with the bead caps, I can actually grab everything at the same time like this. That's one of the nice things about the rods. The rods hold everything in alignment, so you don't have to look for the holes. So I'm going to keep loading these until I get to the end. As you can see, I've loaded all the beads and bead caps. So anyway, now we're going to go ahead and crimp this end. We're going to start by loading this clamshell end cap. And then the crimp bead. Bring it down. Now this part's a little bit more challenging because we're going to have to reach inside that clamshell and squash that crimp bead. So what I like to do is to open up that clamshell a little bit. Let me get my pliers. I'm using another set of pliers. You don't want to open it up too much though, because it'll weaken the metal. But you can open it a little bit like this. And that just makes it easier for me to reach in there. So now I'm going to use my chain nose pliers again, reach in there, grab the bead. And then once you've grabbed the bead, pull your beading wire and go ahead and squash that crimp bead. And always test it to make sure that it's nice and secure. And now I'm going to cut off the excess beading wire. And now I'm going to close up my clamshell. And this is what we have. So now we're done with this part. The other thing I want to mention is that you do want the bracelet to be flexible. You don't want to have those beads up against each other too tightly, because then the bracelet won't be flexible like this. Here are 3 jump rings and a lobster claw clasp. These came from the Finding Starter kit. Here's one of the charms that came in the box. And here's my extended chain. I am going to trim it down though. It's about 2 inches long and I want it to be 1 inch long. And these are actually open links, they're not soldered. So I'm actually going to open up one of these links. And that's easy to do. I'm simply going to grab the link like this and then open it up with another set of pliers. So this one's about 1 inch long. Let me go ahead and open up one of these jump rings. And I'm going to attach the lobster claw clasp. And now I'm going to attach it to the loop of this clamshell end cap. Just like that. And close it up. Now you do want to make sure you close it really well, because the clamshell end cap has a loop that's very skinny and you don't want that loop sliding through any gap. And now let me open up this jump ring. I'm going to connect the extended chain and I'm going to connect it to this end now and close it up. And I think I'm going to change that jump ring because it's a little bit too big. I'm going to use a 4mm jump ring instead. This did not come in the Finding Starter kit, it's from my own stash. Another option would be to open up one of the links and insert the charm right into it. But these links are twisted oval links and sometimes they don't close very well after you open them. So let me go ahead and open up this jump ring. And now I'm going to slide the charm into it, like that. And I'm going to attach it to the end of this extended chain, just like that. Close it up. Tell me that's not adorable. I think it's so cute. I like the idea of putting extender chains on bracelets because if you're giving it away, then you don't have to worry about the length so much or about the recipient's wrist size. But I think this bracelet is so adorable. Look at this. Isn't it cute? Perfect for Valentine's. So anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and load these 2 bracelets onto beading wire, and I'll do the same thing. I'll finish it off the same way, and I'll do it off camera to save time. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Well, here are the 3 bracelets, and I can't decide which one I like the best. I like all 3 of them, but I think I like this one the best. I love the abstract glass beads. But they're all very pretty, and I'm hoping that I've inspired you to make your own. As you know, Curated Bead Box always gives you long strands, and you really don't need a lot of beads to make these bracelets, so you could definitely make a whole bunch of bracelets and give them away as gifts. These actually make great Valentine's Day gifts. You can make them for your best friend, you can make them for your mom, or you can make them for your daughter, or just make them for yourself. I had a difficult time putting these on because of the lobster claw clasp. I'm not very good at attaching lobster clasps, plus I have these long nails, so that makes it even more difficult. But anyway, guys, this is what they look like on, and I really love them. I think they're adorable. I love this little charm at the end of the extended chain as well. I think that looks really nice. And I do like to have these focal beads. It makes the bracelet more interesting. And I do love this mixed metal one. I think this one's really cute as well. As you can see, I put a bronze lobster claw clasp, and the jump rings and the chain and the charm are also bronze. Let me just arrange my bracelets nicely again. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I know it was super easy. Sometimes it's nice to make simple projects, especially bracelets because they're very quick to make. And by the way, I wanted to mention, if you wanted to add toggle clasps instead of lobster clasps, you can certainly do that. But then you'll have to remove the extended chain or just have it there as a design element because obviously you wouldn't be able to use it with a toggle clasp. So let me pick a favorite. I'll put it on and I'll come back and say goodbye. Let's play a little game. I want you to guess which bracelet I picked. I'll give you a few seconds. Close your eyes, take a deep breath and think about it. I'll give you a few moments. Well, which one do you think I picked? If you guessed the bracelet with the abstract glass beads and the 3 large crackle beads and all the bead caps, then you guessed the correct one. I love this one. Look how pretty it is. Isn't it beautiful? I really love it. Now you may have some concerns about the bead caps because they're base metal bead caps. They're not fine metal bead caps, and sometimes they do tarnish, but the best thing to do is to keep the jewelry dry and keep it clean and try not to get any lotion on it. You might also want to think about buying a product called Permalac. It's a coating that you can apply on base metals, and it actually protects the metals and it protects your skin as well. I think Potomac Beads sells it, but if you go on Amazon, you'll see some other products as well. There are a couple of products on the market and they're all pretty good, but some of them are a little bit stinky. So what I usually do is I read the reviews on Amazon, and that way I can get some idea about the product before I buy it. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I hope I've inspired you. I hope you can make your own bracelets. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.